computer and I'm going to live on Facebook. This is the process. Let me just make sure I don't. Okay, I think we are live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook. Okay,
Second.
great.
No, hold on one moment. I have to type in a title of it. Okay. Okay, it's setting it up. We should be in a few seconds ready to go. Thanks for your patience. Okay, all right, we are on Facebook Live. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining us, everyone. My name is Krista Gervon, and I am the Communications Director at Princeton Integrative Health. This is the InVincible Health Series with Dr. Vin, who's our Clinical Director. And this week's topic is going to be all about brain health and cognitive decline and the ways that we can prevent that from happening. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dr. Vinny. Wanted to just say also that we know a healthy brain is very important because it controls all our systems in the body. Many of us don't really know what contributes to our cognitive decline or what, if anything, can be done about it. Recently, Dr. Vinny started studying his own brain health for personal reasons, right? So if you could give us a little bit of, about that first before we get into the details.
Sure. Well, as Krista mentioned, I became interested in brain health for personal reasons. You know, I've always known the brain was important, you know, and knew it would have to last all of us the rest of our lives, but didn't really give it much thought, if you will. But as I was studying my own heart health, I think some of you may know I have coronary artery disease. As part of that, I did some genetics that tells about inflammation, a particular gene called ApoE4. And it turns out if you have one copy of that gene, the ApoE4 gene, you have a 30% lifetime risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. And if you have two copies of that gene, you have a 50% risk, 50% risk of developing Alzheimer's. So that really interested me because when I got my genetic profile, turns out I do have two copies of that gene. That caught my attention.
I bet. Yeah, so you obviously are at an increased risk. So what are kind of like, give us more of a high level understanding of why it's so important to prioritize and maybe what some of the things that you're doing to prioritize your own brain health.
Sure. So, you know, a lot of people think that your genetics is your destiny, but that's not true. It's what we do in our lives that turns our genes on and off. So you can turn the genes that are going to lead down towards the pathway of dementia off by doing the right things. What are some of the right things? Some of the right things are eating a healthy diet, mostly for most people, a low carbohydrate diet, low sugar diet with some maybe intermittent fasting, 12 hours overnight. That's very brain healthy. Another thing that people can do is make sure they're getting activity. Make sure that you're getting that 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, a good walk in every day for 30 minutes. And you can split that up over the course of the day.
Mhm.
Make sure you're sleeping well. Make sure you're getting that 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, because that is when your brain can truly heal, allows your neurons to put out growth factors, healing factors, kind of dump all the accumulated stuff that's been going on all day. If you don't get into that deep sleep, that stuff, it just accumulates.
Yeah, so it seems like a lot of those ways to prevent, cognitive decline are really things that we should be doing anyway for all of the systems of our body to keep them healthy too. So does another factor that kind of affects our brain, that affects our overall health, would another one be stress?
Yeah, stress is, extremely important in terms of being a risk factor.
Okay.
We all, you know, we all think about stress as something external, and it can be. It could be people have a bad boss or a bad relationship, and that actually feeds into your brain and starts generating cortisol and brain chemicals, ups your sympathetic nervous system to send out, adrenaline, noradrenaline, that kind of thing, that just gets your body kind of in a fight and flight mode.
Right.
And that is not conducive to brain health. That kind of like shrinks the protective defenses of the brain.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen stress increase over the past year in most of our lives. So, I mean, I can only imagine that it's contributed toward people's mental health and brain health as well.
Absolutely. Mental health and social excuse me, social isolation
For sure.
is another risk factor in terms of cognitive decline. When you're not interacting with people on a regular basis, our brains tend to atrophy somewhat.
Yeah,
That connection with people is very important. So if you know somebody that's socially isolated, please reach out. Make sure that people can be connected with other people, with other human beings, so that we can all help each other through this period of time.
absolutely. So important. Um, are there any other ways that we can reduce the stress in our life? I know that it's hard for a lot of people because of the social isolation, because of not being able to do some of the things that they used to like to do, like go to concerts or go out to dinner and things like that, that are just really limited, our abilities right now. So are there other ways in which we can reduce stress, thus, lowering our, our potential for cognitive decline?
Sure. One of the first ways that comes to mind, if you'll allow me that particular metaphor,
Good pun.
is is that meditation.
Wow, so good. Yeah.
So for the first 65 years of my life, I was totally unsuccessful at developing a meditation practice. I would hear about it. I'd try it for a little bit. My thoughts would just keep going. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I can't achieve that state of Zen and blissfulness. And so, but this, probably now 2 months ago, I found the meditation app. My wife and I, we use the Calm meditation app, and they have a beginner's how-to guide, if you will, for meditation that they take you through. And, you learn different techniques. You learn that, yeah, you're going to get thoughts when you're meditating. It's all just about, understanding that, and just more and more just practicing, really.
Yeah.
And when you do that, when people do that, it actually increases neurotrophic factors in the brain that causes the nerves to grow, make more connections, rather than the opposite, which is to shrink, sever connections, and eventually die.
Okay.
So meditation is one of the very important ways you can do it.
That is a great app. I used to use it for some of the sounds to try to put my children to sleep, like the rain
Yeah.
and the lullaby.
Yeah.
Sometimes successful, sometimes not, but it is a pretty good app.
I just want to say we have no connection to the Calm
So this is
Meditation
not
app.
a promotional plug or anything.
That's right. So, um,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Other ways, some people will still find they can't meditate,
Mhm.
but doing things like yoga or Tai Chi, some type of intentional um, exercise that involves stretching, that involves certain postures, that kind of thing, also does similar types of thing. The motor cortex in our brain is such a big part of our brain that using that, exercising that, if you will, is very important
Yeah.
and helps to prevent cognitive decline. Things like dancing
Mhm.
um, are great because that you're learning new routines and using muscles and doing things that cause you to cross the midline often, that kind of thing. So dance routines can be great, and you can do all the it was great when we could all get together and do these things, but you can get any of this stuff
Right.
online or
Yeah.
wherever. Yeah.
I put off yoga for so long during this pandemic, and my sister-in-law actually is a yoga instructor in South Carolina, and she started implementing a weekly Zoom yoga. And there's technical difficulties sometimes, but I started it a few weeks ago, and it's made such a difference. So I'm
Uh,
really on board with
awesome.
that. Yeah,
Good for you.
yeah, it was good.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
Other things, yeah. Anything that's going to get you into a calm state, take a bath,
Mm.
buy a sauna and use that. Uh, um, read a good book, crochet, whatever is going to give you that break from daily life, that worry, thinking about what's going on, something you can focus on. All that is helpful to our brains, taking up a new hobby. Yeah. And again, one of the more you are learning new things, the more resilient you make your neurons in your brain. So if you can pick up something new,
Yeah.
and again, that's why things like dance are so important, or things that simulate dance, because you're having to learn new patterns as well as using your muscles. So you're getting kind of like a double, bonus, if you
Yeah.
will. So.
Awesome. If anyone who's listening or sees this video in the future is and they're concerned about their brain health, or they're noticing some differences in how quick they are or things like that, are we going to be able to discuss that with them, or are there any upcoming programs or you know um, ways for them to get help at Princeton Integrative Health?
Sure. Yeah, there are definitely ways. We certainly, they could always call in and do a free discovery call.
Yep.
So there's that. But we are launching a brain health program coming up in the next, I would say, 1 to 2 months, where we are actually going to be working from a certification program on to end Alzheimer's. Dr. Dale Bredesen wrote a book called The End of Alzheimer's. He's written 2 books, The End of Alzheimer's and then The End of Alzheimer's Program, where he detailed his program for preventing, stabilizing, and reversing cognitive decline. And he teaches and certifies other physicians in that method. And I have been certified in that method. And we are going to be launching a program based on that. So for anybody who is worried, anybody who feels that they're a high risk, anybody who's beginning to suffer the effects of cognitive decline, we will have help for them very shortly. And yeah, there'll probably be on, as we put the pieces of this program together, there might even be some online resources that we'll have that they can use.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to put our phone number in the chat just so people have our phone number. We also just published a blog about this very topic. So if you or anyone who's watching wants to share this video or the blog, I'll post that link in there. And then if anyone has any questions right now, please unmute yourself and either type in the chat, or you can feel free to ask your question.
Hi, Dr. Vinny. You had, I think somebody actually wrote this on your website somewhere too. You had said you found out about your APO4 through genetic testing.
Mhm.
Should we all be doing some genetic testing?
I think that's a good one to do because that tells you about brain health risk, that tells you about heart health risk. Yeah, if you're an inflammatory type like I am, I
So
think it,
which,
I
I
think
mean, there's a lot of uh, genetic testing out there, right? A lot of different companies doing it. Is there something that you would
yeah,
recommend?
there are a lot of different companies. They're just kind of doing all your genes. Usually, when I do this, I usually do it as kind of almost part of. I use Cleveland Heart, and I do their ApoE4 test.
Oh,
Um,
just that one,
I
yeah.
just do that particular one. Yeah, I mean, you
Okay.
can get your whole genome. That is an overabundance of riches for most people.
Mhm.
You could probably get your uh, then you can, I guess there are ways you can read those and you can probably get that information from there.
Right.
Some people don't want to do that though, because I don't know. I don't know why. Some people say that they share that information. I don't know. I don't know of the veracity of that or not. But yeah, this is very targeted genetic testing, just looking at those specific genes.
So like for just specific to me, next time I go to have blood work at the Cleveland Heart, which I've done several times now, we could just add that on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Just remind me.
I
I might
will.
forget.
I did just check the Facebook Live, and someone did ask, what is specifically done in the genetic testing?
Yeah, we usually start with ApoE4. That's probably the most important gene to be done. When we're looking at more of vascular health, there might be other genes that we test. There's a so-called heart attack gene that places people at higher risk. It depends on where we're focusing, but for the brain health, it's ApoE4 that's most commonly done.
Okay. That was all the questions on Facebook, unless there are any others. Okay, well, I have our number and our blog link in the chat if anyone wants to check that out or share it with anyone that may be interested. And otherwise, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll talk again soon. At least right now, I believe it's going to continue every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Might have to adjust that at some point, but right now we're going to continue there. Probably going to be doing brain health for at least the next few weeks. So next week will be brain health part 2.
Yay.
Great.
All right, thanks, Dr. Vinny.
Thank you
Okay,
very
thanks
much.
so much, Krista, Colleen. Thank you, and Judy. Thank you for showing up.
See you
Thanks.
soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dr. Vinny.
Bye, Krista. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.